Hey, you too. So, titled this one Leaders. So there is a very, very big difference between someone you call your boss and someone that's still your boss, but they're a leader. They're not a boss. When I left North Dakota, uh, you know, and went into management outside of the oil field, it's a whole different ball game. And what do I mean? If you've ever worked in a factory or ever worked in a warehouse or anything like that, uh, you probably know there's more bosses than there are leaders. Uh, People tend to, just, just point, you do this. Why, they don't really lead, for lack of a better term. One thing that I believe in is that everybody, not supervisors or management, but everybody. That means from a trainee all the way up to Chuck Johnson, our CEO, can be a leader. Well, how do you do that? Some people, I've actually had one guy here ask me that. Well, I'm just a driver. How am I a leader? Well, let me break it down for you, people. A leader is someone that gets out there and leads. They don't just sit there and tell people what to do. They don't talk down to people. They don't, they develop. A leader helps develop people. So I feel like you have to lead by example. So when you get out of the truck, you need to have your hard hat. You need to have your respirator, your earplugs, your safety glasses, your FR shirt, your FR jeans, or your jumpsuit, whatever you have, your steel-toed boots, your gloves. Make sure you get your fire extinguisher out there. Make sure you get your cone out there. Make sure you got your ground cable hooked up. Don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect by no means, but I feel like if everybody treats everybody with respect and treats them I'm going to lead by example. I'm not going to talk, mad stuff about other drivers. I'm not going to talk mad stuff about the company. New guys coming in they're not going to get just all the bad stuff. What they're going to get are a bunch of drivers, whether they've been here for 2 days, 2 years, 20 years, that are leaders, not bosses. I see it a lot with trainers. They think now that they're a trainer, they're a boss, and that's no, hell no. And if you look at the quality of trainee that those type of trainers kick out, you'll notice a distinct difference between those trainees and the trainees that were trained by someone who actually, for lack of a better term, gives a shit. Leaders mentor. Leaders lead. They help the development of not just themselves and the people around them, but of the company. You'll see a lot of people in management positions that are bosses. They tend to just, you do this, you do that. They tend to yell a lot. They could care less about the people working underneath of them. They just want to make sure the job's getting done. And as long as it's getting done, you won't hear anything from them. There'll never be any kind of recognition for what you've done or what you're doing. And that's one nice thing Another nice thing about working where I'm at with Brady is we don't have bosses here really. I mean, I've met one guy since I've been here with the company that I would consider a boss. I don't like him. I don't. And I'm not going to name names. Just know that he's not based out of West Texas or Carlsbad. He's not down here in our area. And there's been a few other drivers that have been up there that they if they're watching this or see this, they'll know who the hell I'm talking about. We all have a high stress job, but that doesn't give us the right to just start bossing people around. What it does give us is the opportunity to, especially to new guys, to show them that we can legitimately be in a high stress environment and be busy and still lead the guy next to us, still mentor that guy next to us. Now, you may have only been here a month, and you're with a guy that's been here 10 years. And you might ask yourself now, well, how the hell am I supposed to mentor that guy? Be better than him. What you see a lot of times with people that's been with a company a long time is they get complacent. They tend to think that their position is they can't be replaced, that they're so valuable to the company that it doesn't matter what they do or how they treat people, they're not going to get rid of them. Well, let me tell everybody something right now. Everybody, absolutely everybody, is replaceable. Period. I do not care. When I got into senior management in North Dakota, we had a guy that had been for Joey he'd been there 5 years before I got there. So he was 5 years my senior, but he wasn't built for management. Let's just put it that way. And he thought that he was irreplaceable, that he couldn't, that it didn't matter what he did. And then things started to pile up, and I was the one that actually had to let him go. It sucked because I liked him on a personal level, but on a work level, it didn't matter for him. He never really did his job right, and in the oil field and energy divisions in this world, not doing your job right can get people killed, and that includes hauling sand. So every time I show up at a loadout or every time I show up at location, I try to do the same thing. I greet those field coordinators with a smile, and how's everything going today? And I listen to what they have to say. We're gonna get you backed in over here. If they end up putting me on a long hose, it is what it is. I don't get pissy about that. It's part of the gig sometimes. I listen to I follow their instructions when they're backing me in. Is what it is. I mean, that's their job, to spot you in and give you directions which way they want you to go, and you got to follow those. If you stop following those, you're likely to get kicked off that pad. Once I get backed in, I get my fire extinguisher out, I get my cone out, I get my wheels chalked, I go back, verify what silo they want me hooked up to. Make sure they sign your paperwork. They tend to put a silo number on there. Most of the time they're still standing right around there somewhere backing in another truck. Go back there and get your stuff all together. Get your fire extinguisher and stuff out. Get your wheels chalked and turn around and look at it and be like, "You say 2?" You never know. You might cut. No, I meant 3. Go to 3. So it's always good, verify. But then I get hooked up and make sure My dog ears are not broken. Boom. They're in good shape. I make sure there's a rubber gasket in the hose like you're supposed to be. I make sure my ends, before I ever connect them, are in good shape. You know, they ain't got holes in them. They're not worn out. They're not going to come apart on me while they're, you know, we're blowing off this sand. I make sure my hose is in good shape. One thing that I don't do, unless I'm in the unloading, is leave tape on a hole on my hoses. You see a lot of guys do that out here, and it's a pet peeve of mine because it's so easy to fix a hose. So I get a hole in one of mine. Let's say I'm in the middle of unloading. If I've still got practically a whole trailer, I'm going to shut it down and I'm going to hook up a different hose. It's just, I'm anal about it, I guess. It's just what I do. But that's what a leader does. Lead by example. Hey, we don't need to be using this hose because it's a safety issue and it's a customer issue. We're blowing their sand out into the wind. You know, it's not going in the silo where they want it. And whether it's a cup of sand or you know, half a pod, a couple thousand pounds, or 10,000 pounds of sand, it's all the same. They paid for it. They want their sand. You know, seen a guy the other night, serious issue with the end of his hose, blowing sand all over the place, broken dog ear on the same hose, and instead of disconnecting that hose and hooking up another one, he just kept taping it, and sand just kept pouring out the tape. Take the hose off, put a new hose on. I even went back and offered, hey, you want me to help you get you another hose on? No, I'm just going to tape it. Man, I don't think tape's going to hold it. No, it'll be fine. Whatever you say, buddy. Don't argue with guys out on site because it gives a bad, you know, perception of the company. Now that being said, everybody down here has stop work authority. And after he got himself all taped up, and I seen how much sand it was blowing, I made him shut it down, and I made him put a new hose on. And to give you an example of just how persistent these companies can be with that, we got a Qualcomm message today from that site, or from that company that we're working on over there, talking about they're going to have a guy walking around doing these inspections and making sure you have your 20-pound fire extinguisher out, and your cones out, and your wheels are shocked, and you're wearing your respirator, and your hoses don't have tape. You know, a lot of us, especially the trainers, have our own hose clamps. Like I went out and bought my own, or banding tool, and I carry plenty of ends and hose clamps and you know, rubber gaskets. I carry plenty of that because I don't like using faulty equipment. You know, I've got extra ears and pins, but that is something that a leader doesn't do that. The boss just says, well, get it fixed, and walks away. A leader is prepared and is willing to slow themselves down or to put their day on hold to help someone else and help their development inside the company. You know, there's a couple guys that I'm proud to say that I trained that are now gray hats, and they're serious hell runners. I mean, they're doing at least 2 loads a day, and they're typically doing over 30 to 34 loads in a pay period. And I mean, it works out to be a lot of money, people. And I'm glad they're like that. And they're safe. They do their job and they do it right. And that makes me proud because I trained them. Hey, this is what you want to do. So I kind of feel like, in a way, it's cold out today, so I got the heat on. It's getting a little hot in here in the Carhartt. So I kind of feel like, in a way, I embedded in them this way of thinking that, you know, they go out and they do what they're supposed to do, and they do it right, and they lead others in doing so. You know, right now, I'm sitting in Monahans, Texas. I'm sitting at Wisconsin Proppants, which is one of our loadouts, which is our loadout for this BJ site we're running. I'm waiting on a load. The yard is about, I don't know, 18 miles east of me on I-20, just directly east. You got a lot of guys that went back to the yard, and I didn't. You know, me and a guy I've been running with, we stopped over last night, and you have to lead by example. If you're telling guys, oh, you don't want to go to the yard every night, you know, you want to make sure you're staying out there and trying to really manage your time, because time management is such a big thing. You need to teach them as a trainer how to do that, and you also need to do that when you're not training or when you're just running with people, so you lead by example. Don't be that guy or gal, oh, this is what I'm going to do. And so I'm going to start a new thing. I'm thinking I'm going to call it the Brady Show. I don't know, because Brady Bunch, Brady Show, you know, I'm not going to have Cindy, Jan, and Bobby or something on here. But what I'm thinking about doing is once a week, I'm going to do like a 30-minute or an hour-long session live, and we're going to do some interviews and some trivia. Yeah, we're going to get some company news out there every week, see how things are going. That way, you know, people that are inside the company that are watching it can get some news updates. I'm trying to pin down, I've been talking to Jason in recruiting. It'd have to be like a phone interview with him and a couple other people I want to do it with, but I want to do one with a newer driver. I think the first one's going to be with a newer driver, probably an owner-operator, and then someone from the management team will probably be our big guest or person or whatever. And you know, I've said it before, guys, I don't pull punches, so it's probably going to take me a couple weeks to get this together, because I'm going to make sure I have some legitimate questions. I don't want to put any softball questions out there that guys are like, ooh, you know, get the info out there for people, and at least they can see that what I tell them is not complete BS. That we really do a good job around here, and we have a great management team. We have a lot of leaders in management. So until next time, remember, be a leader, not a boss. Guys, I don't get paid for these videos. I don't want to get paid for these videos. I'm not sponsored by anyone for these videos. And I guess the only way I'd ever take a sponsorship is, you know, or someone to sponsor shows, if it was Pepsi or Peterbilt. How about that? So until next time, guys, questions, comments, concerns, please leave them, like and share the video, get them out there. Randy, I know you'll be here Monday, buddy. Can't wait to meet you. Guys, have a good day.